Hello, everybody, and welcome back to FutureBuilt. I'm Matthew Boney, your host. I'm here today with Quinn Edwards. He's the co-founder of AI for CRE Collective, which is doing awesome work. Quinn, super happy to have you here on the podcast, man. Excited to break it down. So thanks for joining.
I appreciate you having me, and Matt, thanks for all the good work that you're doing on your end.
Thank you, man. Yeah. I can give the high level overview on AI for CRE, but I'd love to have you break it down. I mean, what I see from my side is you guys have your finger on the pulse daily of what's coming out. AI tools for the commercial real estate space. You guys are putting out reports, doing workshops, really like kind of the go-to educational space for this, as far as I can tell. But give us the breakdown. Tell us in your own words what you guys are up to.
Yeah, I think we're the only media outlet that's exclusively focused on AI and technology converging with the commercial real estate industry. I think there's a handful of other, large real estate publications, but like from a sole focus standpoint, like that's what we do every day. That's our bread and butter. That's what we focus on. And we like to think that we're the unbiased source of truth for all things AI and tech converging with the commercial real estate industry. And we can unpack what that means. But at the bones of everything, we are a media company. We do a handful of other things, from like a training perspective and an actual educational standpoint, but we are trying to produce the best possible and the most honest content around all things that are happening on the AI side of things, converging with our favorite $1 trillion industry, $30 trillion industry, commercial real estate.
Absolutely. It's amazing. And I'd love to talk a little bit. Obviously, your business partner isn't here today with us either, Jake. But I love watching all these short videos you guys are putting out. The media side of it's entertaining and also educational, which I love. But talk to us about your guys' partnership. How did you get started? Like, what was really the ethos for jumping into this? I know you guys
Yeah.
have commercial real estate backgrounds, but talk to us about how you got started with this.
Well, first I'll say I appreciate you calling out that you like our content. We were not born to be content creators, and creating content is very hard. So I have a newfound respect for all these creators out there that are pushing out content every day because my gosh, it is like the hardest thing to do to create quantity of the content, right? But to also create, high quality content that actually resonates, both from like an entertaining standpoint and then to your point, right, educational. Um, but background on myself, background on Jake and I, we actually met originally in college. We both went to Indiana University. We were fraternity brothers. We studied in the business school together. We were both finance and real estate majors, so we shared a lot of similarities, hobbies, and then we also just spent a lot of time together, whatever setting that was, whether it was in the library studying or at the fraternity house. So we've always been very close friends. And after school, we went our separate paths. So I went to CBRE. I interned there when I was in college. I was lucky enough to come on full time afterwards, and I spent almost 8 years there on one of the top producing occupier teams where we focused on representing large corporate clients with their portfolios. So we would transact on behalf of these clients globally across their portfolio. We would advise them, we would manage them, and we were, the cream of the crop real estate brokerage team at CB. My partner Jake, he had more of an entrepreneurial background. His family actually is in the home building business. They were a large private home builder here on the West Coast for quite some time. He never worked directly with his family, but he worked with two other guys. He started an entitlements company that entitled over 6,000 units throughout Southern California. He developed a few infill apartment buildings with these two other guys, and they had their hands in like a lot of different construction and real estate related ventures. And he had tremendous amount of experience, both from like a starting the business standpoint, but then throughout real estate from his family and from his jobs. Right? I mean, he's seen it and done a lot, and we partnered up last year when AI was moving so quickly. We felt that we needed to be on the forefront of it. Right? We didn't really know where it was going to go or what was going to happen with it, which kind of many people probably had the same sentiment to us. But we had
Yep.
felt as if AI was the most transformative technology ever. Commercial real estate, a $30 trillion industry, and at some point in time, there was going to be an intersection of how AI could be helpful to commercial real estate professionals. And we started this online community to get like-minded commercial real estate professionals together in the same room to educate one another and learn from one another on how they are using AI to positively impact their workflows and their business. And to our, I guess, surprise, it blew up in a great way. And today we still have this online platform, the AI for CRE Collective. We have 800 members all sharing and comparing notes on what's working. And then we provide, right, a lot of educational and informational content. So think master classes, think step-by-step video breakdowns on how to use specific tools for specific tasks, prompt libraries, skill libraries, etc. And then that grew into enterprise training. So we work with private equity, brokerage firms, asset management firms, more customized in kind of three different ways: cohorts, workshops, and transformative sessions. But this is like hand-on holding on how to actually educate these teams and these firms on what they could be using, how could they be using it, and how they could be implementing these tools and technologies into their business. And then to wrap a whole bow on it, somewhat recently, we had the epiphany that we really are a media company. One, because we're sitting on just hours and hours of educational content that we've produced that other people find valuable. But two, just given all our interactions and conversations we're having in the podcast that we're doing, like the content is what people want. And
Mhm.
that's what we were doing all along. We just didn't realize that, an online community and training would actually turn into being creators in this media world. So that's a little bit about us, and we're thrilled about it. We're grateful for it, and we're continuing to grow every day and just get better and do our best.
I love it, man. I love it. And I think it's so cool how these stories evolve. Like, you may start out thinking you're doing one thing and then you start to realize, wait a second, this is really the part that people are coming back for. This is the part where we're getting traction. And I mean, it makes sense. You guys are producing amazing content. It makes sense. People are coming and getting value out of that and then implementing it. It's exciting, man. I mean, this is a massive industry that's changing daily. You guys are at the forefront of these technologies that are getting pushed out and implemented. Tell me, like, where are firms actually seeing success, getting ROI right now? And kind of like, what are the tools or techniques that are really leading the way, getting people the most ROI? And then we can talk about the other side of that coin afterwards.
Yeah, that's a loaded question, Matt. And I feel like there's a lot of studies that have come out, right, that like 95% of commercial real estate firms are using AI, and only like 5% or 10% of those are actually seeing like real ROI on their
Yeah,
efforts. And we talk a lot about that, right? Because a lot of folks and firms try to AI everything, and that is not the answer, right? AI is good at certain things, and AI is not good at others. And what we preach and what we think is true is little wins are what you should be focused on, at least in commercial real estate right now, and how to use AI. If you're trying to AI everything, you're going to fall in a trap of either false productivity or just frankly not really getting anywhere and just watching these tools break down for you. But like there's a lot of practical things that AI can do really well, whether it's marketing materials, whether it's using Claude skills to automate specific tasks that commercial real estate professionals do on a daily basis, right? Drafting LOIs, putting together deliverables, redlining documents, right? There's a lot of those things that we could talk about. Um, but I think, and it's funny, Claude is the tool of choice for many firms, and we would agree with that wholeheartedly.
okay,
Just now, you're starting to see a lot of these institutional firms actually start using Claude, and they're at the very beginning of their AI journey. And I think the beginning of the AI journey is kind of starting now, and will go for a long time, and we'll get to see how it's all going to play out. But Claude is definitely right now what every firm and professional is focused on learning and getting better at.
for sure. And it looks like you guys have really leaned into that trend and kind of produced content around that. Produced, I think I saw like a Claude masterclass on the
Yeah.
website where really like I mean, I think that's awesome. You can click one button and have this resource where you can probably continuously go back, train on different skills, get updated. Like, talk to us about how people are actually interacting with these courses and the content you have. Like, is it kind of I wonder, is it like a weekend session and then I'm up to speed, or is it like an encyclopedia? Like, I'm coming back and checking in?
Yeah. Um, good question. That the thing about AI is that it changes every day and it moves so quickly. And one of the reasons why, our business is stemmed around, right, the content and the education is because there's there's no stopping to like everything you need to learn because these
Wow.
tools are changing every day. So staying on top of that, right, that's what we do, and we hope to provide value to other people by doing that service to them, because a lot of firms and professionals, they don't have time to learn all of this,
Yeah.
right? They don't have time or at least they tell themselves that. Right now, I'll let them determine if they don't have time or they're not making best use of their time, or maybe they should be spending the time on this because inherently that will allow them to do more revenue generating activities down the line. Um, but from like an actual like use case standpoint, to answer your question, like what we're seeing, like number one, like marketing materials. Like AI
Interesting.
is very good at putting together
Mhm.
OMs,
Mhm.
listing flyers, packages. And when you think about like the traditional way of doing that, right, it typically entails a marketing person and a lot of time gathering all the data and the details that need to go into these deliverables.
Yep.
AI can do that very easily. And we could talk about Claude skills too, but like again, going back to my initial point, anything that a commercial real estate professional does that is repeatable and constant, AI can likely take that off your plate. And if you think about real estate as a whole, that it seems so simple because a lot of things are the same, right? If you're a broker, you make calls, you set meetings, you win pitches, you win business, you transact, you close deals, you get paid, and like every broker operates within that framework, but everyone does it differently. And that's
Mhm.
the hardest part right now with integrating AI is everyone operates in their own silo and there's not one size fits all solution. So it's really understanding how you work and understanding these tools and using Claude and these other general LLMs to work with you, not just offload all the work.
Right. That's so interesting. And I mean, I know I've seen some of the breakdowns you guys have online as well about like, hey, these are the top 5 tools you should check into. I really want to dig into that because I think that it's for someone, on the outside looking at these different tools and then looking at like something like Claude, I want to sort of figure out where the line in the sand is. Why don't I just use Claude to try to do everything that the tools do? Where are they getting an advantage as a tool that's separate than something like Claude? What are they actually building with these tools that makes it any different than an LLM?
Yeah, that's the very um it's hard. We feel it's hard for a lot of these companies to survive in the long run, and we probably believe that 90% of these purpose-built tools for commercial real estate might just lose to Claude and Chat and Gemini and all these other LLMs just because these LLMs will eventually catch up, or these tools are just wrappers around these models. But
Right.
when it comes to like a purpose-built commercial real estate tool, it can't just drive efficiency, right? Like it really has to either lower costs, increase revenue, or find you more deals. And if it's not doing that, then like what's the difference between just using Claude? Now, some of these tools actually have like commercial real estate context, right? And they're built to think like a commercial real estate professional would. But I would challenge that in the sense, like to my previous comment, everyone operates differently, right? So like if you're going to be a prop tech tool, you need to either be solving a solution that everyone is burdened with and they're all burdened with it in the same way, or it's trained on real commercial real estate knowledge and context so it can operate differently than one of these LLMs. And time will tell if these LLMs will eventually catch up, and like why use a lease abstraction tool that has it's purpose built for real estate because it's read hundreds of thousands of real estate leases. When will Claude just have that same context, right? For almost every industry. It doesn't have to just be commercial real estate, but when will Claude just be the master of all trades?
It's a good question. I I personally don't know the answer. Um, Tell me, where is this stuff failing? Where are firms not able to make this work?
You're saying where are commercial real estate firms not being
Yeah,
able to
where are
make
they failing with implementing AI? Where are the tools not actually solving problems?
real estate's a very relationship driven business. It always has been, right? Assets are touch, feel, smell. Brokerage is a people business. Property management is managing people. Asset management is managing properties that have unique values to people, right? And at the end of the day, relationships aren't going anywhere in our industry. So we see a lot of companies trying to implement whether it's prospecting tools, which I think there is value in certain aspects of prospecting that AI can help with. But when it comes to the relationship piece of real estate, like AI is not going to solve that. It's going to solve everything else to allow you to build more relationships, right? And like
Mm,
if you're a real estate professional, you should be focused on how can I use AI to free up my time to build relationships and do revenue generating activities. And that's where you should be spending all your time and figuring out how AI can take off all this other manual work that you're stuck doing that's not feeding the two ladder buckets.
yeah. That's really interesting. I actually kind of want to touch on that and take a step back. It's interesting that you frame the real estate business in this way because I 100% agree. I think it takes one or two levels of abstraction to be able to see it that way. Does that is that something that kind of got you into the business to start? Are you driven by like what drives you to be in this industry? Is it about the people? What is it that drives you to jump in?
About commercial real estate.
Yeah, it seems like there's more to it than the buildings for you. It seems like you see it in a more sort of holistic and impactful scope.
Yeah, I think, look, I've learned a lot as I've started this business, more so than I've probably learned in any other experience. My only other experience besides just being a commercial real estate broker, so maybe that's not much to tout on, right? But like, um, what I think is so unique about commercial real estate and what drew me to the business originally was I thought that I had the right skills and the characteristics to thrive in the brokerage role. And a lot of that is helping people. It's building relationships, right? It's creating meaningful value, and it's frankly being trusted. And that's not necessarily an ego play, but you want to serve people because they trust you to get a job done, and that's why they hire you as a broker. And I like to take that mentality for the same thing here with the AI for CRE Collective. Our reputation is everything we have, and that's why we're focused really on the educational standpoint because we believe that we can add value to real estate firms and professionals by educating them and staying on top of everything moving in AI in our industry because we not only know the industry like the back of our hand, but because like our drive is the same. We want to create value and create help. And I think a lot of the issues, and maybe this is where you were going with it, was there's a lot of outside players and third parties that are trying to get into this AI commercial real estate world. And without understanding of how the business works, how people operate, how real estate professionals think, act, and do, it's very hard to come to them with a technology solution they're going to be excited about.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, it does lead naturally into that question of is there actually a space for third parties to help ease this transition or help firms navigate this onboarding of the AI layer? Or do you feel like it's something that's better off being taught internally, adopted, as a more sort of organic process? I think, I'm definitely seeing both sides at play right now. So it's interesting
Yeah.
to hear what do you actually think ultimately benefits the firm the most?
I think it's firm by firm, right? And I think you have to evaluate what's the best use of your time.
Mhm.
Um, at the end of the day, a lot of commercial real estate professionals are not technical individuals and really don't have tech backgrounds, right? And like are pretty adverse to using tech. Like again, just putting my brokerage lens on because that's what I know.
Yeah.
Um, Brokerage has been done the same way for many, many, many years. And there's been some prop tech tools that get adopted, right, that make certain things easier, but like the fundamentals are the same. And that's the same whether you're a broker, you're a developer, you're an investor, you're a property manager. Like the fundamentals of the business, like that, those are the same. So I think the first question you have to ask yourself is there anyone on your team that should be spending time, building this stuff out for you, learning all these tools, learning how to use all this, right? Because there's an aspect of like, yeah, everyone needs to know how to use AI. Like that's true to a certain extent. But like, should you really be building agents? Should you really be building on all this infrastructure internally, or should you go hire a third party? And then that leads me to the second point, which is you just got to be cautious of who you're hiring and make sure that they understand you and your firm and your business. Because at the end of the day, one, proprietary data is what's going to separate all these firms and individuals, right? Because we could all be using the same AI models, but like if we're feeding it different data and it's unique to us, we're going to get unique and different outputs that could potentially create a competitive advantage. And secondly, if you're just hiring, the tech guy that knows nothing about commercial real estate and nothing about no knowledge on how you work, it's going to be very hard for them to really provide you a solution that could be, truly, truly um, useful for your business.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I'm hearing now is yes, there are all these tools. Yes, there's all of this AI that we can incorporate if we know about it and how to use it, but getting the firm to actually adopt it and use it and actually build it into the process is like another element of that transition. Do
Yeah.
you guys see like all these great tools kind of going in, getting that additional interest and then like usage dropping off? Is that transition hard? How do people navigate that?
Yeah. I think, and forgive me for using this word buffoon, but I think you are a buffoon if you're not at least trying to figure out how you could be using AI to enhance your business. And I can give you like three very practical examples on like how firms are using it. And if you're a firm that's not using it this way, then like you're a buffoon. The one is the marketing materials aspect that I mentioned, right? Because you have all these tools, whether it's Claude or these custom purpose-built tools for CRE marketing, that can really put together institutional quality deliverables that I personally would have no problem sharing with clients, investors, et cetera. And I have a pretty high bar, and it's a very easy way to, I wouldn't say necessarily offload a marketing person, but save you a lot of time and money putting together these materials that AI can do. Two is underwriting. It takes time with underwriting, right? Because everyone has their own model. But again, if you have your own model and you underwrite deals the same way every time, you can create a Claude skill or use an underwriting platform that's AI driven to underwrite deals the way that you would, again, saving you time and money. And
Yeah.
then thirdly, um, I think, I wouldn't say don't use a lawyer because lawyers are very important, but like there's a time and place. And I'll give you a perfect example. So when I was at CBRE, we were lucky to have two former practicing attorneys on our team, and their job was to draft LOIs, redline LOIs, redline leases, and complete lease abstracts. And it made us look like absolute stewards to our clients because all of our documents were legal grade.
Yep.
And we couldn't say that, attorneys were drafting them because they were former practicing attorneys, but like our LOIs, our red lines, they looked better than anyone else's. And most brokers like have never read a lease. So like when we turn around a lease document to our client and said, hey, we took the first pass at it and it's redlined completely with all the right clauses that your lawyer would look at. Now you're sending this document to your lawyer and he's spending less time and you're paying him less money because it's not taking him all this time to redline this document. That was magical like 3 years
Yeah.
ago. It was incredible. And we would pay them a commission based off of a fee based off all our commissions across every deal we worked on. And they made a lot of money. We made a lot of money. It was great. AI can do exactly what they just did without having to pay them. And still, you're going to get a LOI, a document that has all these red lines that are high quality. So
Yes.
when you're sending it to your attorney, you're saving them a ton of time and you're saving yourself a ton of money and you're pushing deals across forward. And at the end of the day, the famous saying is time kills all deals. And the three examples that I just gave, whether it's market materials, underwriting, or leases and LOIs, that's just time, right? And if you can expedite that time, I would say that you're more likely to get more deals done.
That's super, super interesting. And I think those are three very practical, very useful places that I can see AI excelling, even in other arenas, kind of
Yeah.
transferring that into CRE. That doesn't surprise me that those are the places that you see it working really well. And I agree. I think it's kind of becoming table stakes to be, you know, turning documents around that fast with the red lines, being able to have really beautiful presentations in, a matter of literally less than an hour or something. Like
Yeah.
these things can be turned around super quickly, sent out to the client. So that's, I think, even just for our listeners, like a really good starting point to say, hey, are we doing these three things? If you're not, I would say obviously go check out what Quinn and Jake are doing, and they can probably teach you how to
I
do
think
that.
for every
Super well.
I think for every real estate professional out there, like the first task that you should undergo in your AI journey is writing down everything you do,
Mhm.
whatever that might be. And maybe feed it to Claude or ChatGPT and tell me, Claude or ChatGPT, where can you help me? And just start
Mhm.
tackling one by one, right? Because the challenge you get is a lot of this can seem overwhelming. Or if you
Yeah.
try one thing and you don't get the right output, you just kind of give up on it. And you have to realize that like AI takes time to understand you and to train the right way. But once it's trained, it can do a lot of things that I just mentioned in a seamless and professional manner, the exact way that you would have done it. So I would just always think about like simple, practical workflows that you do and question yourself, can AI do this or AI can't? A lot of the times it maybe can, but ask yourself that honest question and then ask AI what it can do and what it can't do. And sometimes it'll give you an answer.
I think that's a great way to look at it and kind of feeding that workflow into it, seeing where can pick things apart. I think that's a great starting point, really, for any, again, taking a step out of CRE, like probably
Yeah.
any profession. That's a really good exercise to do. I might just do that right after this call for myself as well.
My
But
part talks about this all the time, and it
yeah,
resonates a lot with me. Um, uh, what do we automate? What do we delegate? And where do we spend our time? Right?
mm,
If you can take that lens on really anything you do, you'll realize that you're spending a lot of time doing things that could be automated or delegated.
mm, yeah, that's a good one to take home for sure. I can imagine. Yeah, just even bucketing the things you spend your day on, like for take 30 minutes to do that, you're probably going to shift. It might be a massive shift in what you spend time doing.
Totally.
That's really
Right? And it all
interesting.
comes down to your goals and your wants, and it's personal, right? And you could, to your
Yeah.
point, you could be commercial real estate specific or business or life, right? But are you spending your time doing the highest quality things? And there's a lot of things that AI can do to allow you to do that. So really understand what those are and take it step by step.
What do you think the future commercial real estate firm looks like? Let's accelerate 10 years, 5 to 10 years in the future. Like, is it a one person shop with AI doing everything and they're just raising cash to build whatever comes to mind? Like, how far are we getting in that time period? Do you think?
Yeah. I think anything's possible. So like the whole idea of having a one person investment shop, I think is totally feasible.
And
To an extent, right? I think going back to proprietary data, like that's the most important aspect of this. Also, like in the world where AI can pull all public information and everyone has access to the same amounts of data, like the competitive advantages that you have are your proprietary data, your ability to raise capital, and how quickly are you able to move. Because if
yeah,
everyone's doing the same thing, right? Like you got to create your competitive advantage, and maybe that's your capital sources, maybe it's your unique experiences and the data that you have from the past allows you to make data driven decisions that other people can't make. And then it's how quickly can you move on all that. So I think a lot of firms like 10 years from now that are going to have the competitive advantage then are. I'll give you an example. There's a firm called Tryon Properties,
yeah,
and they're pretty technical guys. And shout out to Tryon, they're great. No sponsor here. Um, but one of their chief investment officer, like he spent a large amount of time in this doing this initiative where they compiled all the data from every single deal that they looked at over the last 5 years, whether they passed on it, how they underwrote it, what deals they ended up closing, why they closed on them, what deals are successful for them, what deals aren't. And they're creating this knowledge brain, right? And that's a pretty commonly used term right now. And I don't want to sound like it's AI slop, right? But like if you have uh, all this data, it's how are you using it to actually make data driven decisions? And AI can help you make those if you have that existing data. But if you're
mm,
just relying on everyone else's data that everyone else has, there's no competitive advantage.
right. Yeah, it is really interesting. I mean, you think about like data is there's a large majority of data which is probably publicly available. Knowledge is becoming quote unquote a commodity as LLMs catch up to and surpass human intelligence. Like, what are the competitive advantages that you can actually put in place? I agree with you. I think capital sources. I always think that maybe, network kind of, hence part of the reason people may do podcasts or host events or these things. Like, it's how do you build these human connections that can
Totally.
help you in kind of the offline world, like as a mode. But it's really interesting. I mean, I think that's a unique insight and probably again to our listeners, like thinking about what data advantages you can compile in the coming months or years where you're pulling proprietary data, I think is critical. Like I 100% agree. And I'd be interested. We should keep in touch on that. The one person shop, like if you see one pop up or two or three that are crushing it, I'd be really interested to see what that model looks like in practice.
There's a few shops that are building out all these agents to just scrape data, right? And
Yeah.
I don't know how well that's going to work, but like there's a way to get really dangerous with building all these agents that are collecting data for you at all times so you can make quicker decisions, right? And again, that just comes down to speed. But you're going to see some changes, right? I mean, I don't know if it's mass layoffs or different roles, but like the marketing person, the analyst, those are roles that are changing in real time. And I encourage everyone to just adapt to what's out there, and not fall behind.
Yeah. I mean, what I love about what you guys are doing, and kind of to maybe bring this to somewhat of a conclusive note, is that though AI is changing the industry and though we hear about layoffs day after day, like what you guys are actually doing is building a place, in my opinion, this is what I think you guys are doing, is building a place where anybody that's in these roles that are kind of somewhat endangered could go and they could learn new skills and they could learn how to use the tools to actually amplify their impact in a firm, stay relevant, perhaps even provide more value to a company. And so I think it's really has a good mission behind it in that way as well, where it's like
Yeah,
empowering people to become even more useful in this age of rapidly changing technology.
yeah, we're big believers of just improving each day, whether it's 1% or half a percent or whatever that might be, right? But just consistently getting better. And my former partner at CBRE, we always talked about how change is just the hardest thing, right? And like when you think about real estate, traditionally speaking, you can be in commercial real estate and make a lot of money doing things the old ways. And if you're an owner of real estate and you own a good building, a lot of the times the building sells itself. So the
Right.
reason to like adopt new technologies when you have assets that do the selling for you and you're making a good amount of money doing the things the old way, you're not incentivized to change. But I would challenge those folks to change because there's so much room for improvement and growth. And AI is really allowing people to get creative on how they can grow their business.
I agree. It seems like, I mean, a final note is this is relevant to anyone, regardless of your level of success, regardless of how well your assets are producing NOI right now. Like there's in my mind, there's two sides of the curve that I'm kind of seeing. It's like resistant to change, adopting and adapting with the times. And even if you're doing well, it's critical that you move to that side of the curve and adopt and adapt because you won't necessarily be doing well if everyone else levels up. So
Yeah.
it's almost like a necessity to stay doing well, even if you're already doing well now. I don't know if that's true, but that's kind of how I see it right now.
Yeah. There's a lot of talk around like replacement, right? And I think the most common thrown around slang is like you're you're getting replaced by someone that's using AI better than you, right? So it's like the broker isn't getting replaced, but that broker is losing out to the broker that's implementing these technologies and tools to his or her benefit.
Right.
Um, so I think you could be a teenager or you could be in your 60s and 70s, and there's no reason why you shouldn't be open to adopting and learning these new technologies. Because I am 100% certain that if you do so, you will find some type of improvement that you'll be thankful for.
It's amazing. And you guys probably you have customers or members of your collective that are from all ages, like
Oh yeah,
just runs the gamut. That's
yeah.
awesome.
It's it's interesting. So our online platform, which is caters to more do it yourself,
Yep.
where the training is more enterprise. Um, but we'll have a recent grad that just came out of school that is purely joined the community because they want to get into commercial real estate and they want to make sure they're up to date on all things AI so they could be hireable. And then
Yep.
we have individuals who are in their 50s or 60s that have $1 billion portfolios that are like, I need to grow my portfolio and I want to know how I can use AI and improve my business and improve our operations, right? So like the whole spectrum is ready to learn, and it's awesome to see that.
That's wild. It's so cool, and I don't remember, maybe I wasn't really, cognizant of the Internet's arrival in my younger years in the late '90s, but,
Yeah.
like, I wonder if that was another time in history where, like, this mass learning occurred. Maybe not as much as AI, but it is interesting. It's almost bringing us together in a way. A lot of people see it separating us, but I see this need for learning, this desire to adapt, kind of bringing certain folks together that maybe would be on different parts of the age spectrum or something. So I think that part of it's really cool, and I guess that's why you guys are building a community, literally a collective for learning.
Look, I would echo your sentiment around being a little young when the internet came out and not really knowing what the impact was or how people reacted it to. But I can tell you that AI in my lifetime thus far is clearly the most transformative technology ever.
Yeah.
And that's exciting. That shouldn't be scary.
Right.
So I think it's also a mindset, right? Like there's a lot of noise out there that AI is taking jobs and AI is replacing people and AI is doing that. And maybe there's some truth to it, maybe not, right? But like there's also a whole another side of that where AI is allowing me to grow my business. AI is allowing me to have a business. AI
Mhm.
is improving my life, right? So there's two ways to look at it. And I think we all have choices and the choice is yours.
Amazing. I like ending on that note. I think that's a I think that's a strong thing for people to take away and think about because you're right. We do get to make our own choices and we get to adapt and view change as we would like to. So I agree, man. And I'm excited that you guys are championing the positive side of that. It's amazing. If anybody wants to get in touch with you guys, take a class, join up with the collective, what's the best place to get in touch? Both the domain and maybe a way to reach out to you guys.
Cool. So I would first suggest that they check out our website, AI for FORCRE collective.com. You'll pretty much find everything about us on the website, our community, our enterprise training offerings, a ton of free resources. That's all there. So you can check that out. I would also encourage that you look up the AI for CRE Collective on YouTube and Instagram because Matt, like you said, I guess someone likes our content. And if you like it, maybe some other people will. And my email is Quinn at AI for crecollective.com. And we're here to help. So anyone has any questions, they need help with something. I mean, that's what we do on a daily basis. And that's what we're excited about doing. And don't hesitate to reach out.
Amazing. Quinn, thank you so much for getting on the podcast, man. This has been great. I'm a big fan of what you guys are up to and both great guys, both Quinn and his business partner Jake. And you're expanding the team. I'm excited to see you guys grow. So
I appreciate
thanks
it. Yeah,
again,
we
man.
just brought on our first hire. He's a
Awesome.
firecracker. He's a great guy.
I
And
love it.
hopefully more to come. But Matt, appreciate you having me on. Love what you're doing at FutureBuilt. I wish you tremendous amounts of success, and I love the format of this podcast. I love your conversational abilities, and in any way that I can be helpful to you after this, I'm here.
Likewise. Likewise. Thank you so much, Quinn. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Matt.
We'll talk soon. Cheers.